Hello, welcome to Reboot Civilization. My name is CJ Morgan and I'm joined by Chad Alexander. Good evening, Chad. How are you?
Good evening, CJ. I'm doing great.
How's the weather?
It's nice. It's like 20 degrees Celsius. It's almost like a summer evening.
We just had a hurricane, so Ireland is it wasn't too bad. Everyone thought it was going to be worse, but we're cleaning up now. Ireland's in grand cleaning mode.
Yeah, I saw the pictures of the school roof flying through the air and the trampoline on the church steeple.
Yeah, yeah. But anyhow, so tonight we're talking about dating in the year 2050. It's very exciting.
Yeah, it's interesting. So
Are you are you a Tinder user?
I've looked at it. I used it a while ago, but I've just gone on and looked at it in the past week because there's an article that came out saying that it's the top grossing app in the Apple App Store ever since.
Wow.
Yeah, ever since they released, I guess they have a paid version, like a
Yeah,
premium
basically
upgrade.
world is rather than you swiping through all the matches, it actually shows you who liked you. So instead of going through like thousands of profiles, it just gives you like 600 people who liked you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right. So anyway, that monetization strategy moved Tinder to the top of the highest grossing app in the App Store. So, I mean, people want to connect,
Oh
clearly.
yeah. But also the gamification of Tinder, like people just like being known that they were fancied by a guy or girl.
And I think that's the main dopamine rush that people get when they're using Tinder. It's not
Hmm.
so much like when they say, "Would you like to meet up?" It's more like that moment when it says you have a match. That's
Hmm.
the validation. That gives someone validation that they actually, some other human being out there connected with them and validated that they're attractive. Would you
Hmm.
agree?
But I mean, the future of dating is just incredible. Like with DNA, like chemical, electrical signal analysis, then all the information that's been gathered on you online, down to like, preferences. Like, I mean, just like if you want to breed healthy children, like from your DNA, your diseases are predetermined.
Hmm.
So, like in the future, your partner, there might be a Tinder out there that has already matched your DNA. It's going to select the partner that is children.
Right. Not only that, maybe they'll even be able to find compatibility in terms of temperament, like
Yeah,
people's
we see.
temperament and their personality traits. Like, for example, an ENTJ type personality with someone who's compatible.
Yeah, yeah. Well, they'd be able to tell that by your algorithm, your own personal IP address and the analysis of your IP address, like what you're clicking on and different things you're interested in and all of that. Like, the Myers-Briggs test would be, it wouldn't be, I'm sure there will be like a futuristic version of that, but like when they have all your search engine analyzed, that would be like Myers-Briggs won't be able to
Oh, for
beat that.
sure.
Like,
Yeah, exactly. It's just a bigger data graph to work with.
but I think it's interesting because, like, first of all, whether people can afford to have children in 2040 is one thing. Whether they want to have children is another thing. And if they don't, it'll be all personality based. Whereas like if it talks about like breeding healthy humans, I definitely think like using technology, the children will be stronger
Right, but that's
because like all
okay. But are you saying that a dating app is a breeding app? Because not everybody uses that for breeding. A lot of
I'm
people
talking
use it just for hookups.
I'm talking about like, the overall impact it's going to have on the human race and its evolution. Like we can use technology and utilize it that healthier children will be born, less cancers and diseases and all of that. Like hopefully the cures will be there by 2040, but like if they aren't, that's going to be your DNA matching. Like imagine with Tinder, this will be the app. Your DNA, you send in your DNA, or it's already on file because everyone will have had their DNA analyzed by then, and then your matches are based on your DNA.
Right.
So if you do want to have children, you can like enable that feature, and then your matches come up with like healthiest bloodline
Hmm.
reinforcers.
But not only
Like
that,
that's
not only your DNA and how you're hardwired, but also your mood.
well, it does chemical and electrical signal analysis as well.
Yeah, like in Blade Runner, what is it, 2047? Something,
Yeah,
yeah, or 2049.
yeah.
Um, the guy, his girlfriend is like a hologram, like a virtual reality construct, and she adapts and becomes anything that his mood desires.
Hmm.
So mood is going to be a big part of it, and I think part of the reason why people aren't staying in relationships as long anymore is the same reason why people aren't buying cars as much anymore, or buying homes, or starting families as much. People aren't investing. This generation isn't about ownership, it's about access.
Hmm.
And as we connect and create more, I guess, holograms to play with in the world, people don't want to just get locked into one thing. So the dating app of 2050 will, like you said, take your DNA, so have some kind of like a hardwiring match. But on another level, it'll be mood. Like, what kind of mood are you in right now? Are you looking for someone to go on a date with? Maybe go on a number of dates with? Are you looking just to hook up with someone? Like, it'll know your mood based on your biorhythms in your body.
We have all of the EEG technology now, like NeuroSky. That's in 2017. So I can imagine in the future, your computer will be processing and analyzing all that information from you anyhow. So like if you're prone to like alpha, beta, delta, theta wavelengths and your unique signature there, like it'll be able to match based on your EEG and where your brain is firing.
Yeah, yeah. All the inputs that it biometrically will receive will be incorporated into. It's just more context. All that data creates
Mm-hmm.
context, and context leads to better matching.
The reason people are so afraid to give up their DNA information is information that can be sold on again, is they're afraid that their DNA tests are going to be sold on to insurance companies. So right now, from your DNA, you can tell what you're predisposed to, what diseases like cancer and all the different types of diseases that are out there. But like by 2040, I think that will have been done. Allowed to discriminate based on they'll be able to calculate like your health insurance bill, and then from there put you on the correct payment plan.
Right.
You know, so I don't think there is a roadblock. I think eventually, like there will be DNA analysis because employers will want to know what you're prone to, and they'll want to know like how much money to invest into you when you're potentially going to run into a wall.
Hmm.
So I think like the future is transparent. Would you agree with that? Or
Yeah, mostly. The future, like having all that data, I don't
mm,
know. Jack Ma said something along the lines of data is, it's like
Jack
the
Ma is an
new,
Alibaba?
yeah, data is the
Yeah.
new utility,
Hmm.
like electricity. So machines run on electricity, but the machine intelligence runs on data. The more data you give it, the smarter it gets. And it does things for you. And it's smarter than humans at machine things. But at the end of the day, he said human or machines don't, well, they'll never have a heart, so they can't have wisdom.
Hmm.
So again, we're just going to be in a world where massive data collection creates incredible context and matching.
I think
That's what computers are for.
I think this DNA is going to be the content of computing though, because we have eHarmony, OkCupid, and Match.com, and their algorithms are based on personality traits and location. And they're already looking into DNA matching. And in 2014, I'm just reading here, there was a study done and it found out that people were more likely to choose mates with similar DNA profiles.
Mm-hmm.
So there might be something in that, like DNA dating. So maybe we'll open up an open source project called DNAdating.com or something.
Well, we don't want to limit it to DNA because there's other factors that could influence a good match
Yeah.
even better than DNA. So just keep DNA as one of the factors.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but matching by behavior patterns, that's what you're talking about, you know?
Well, like you said, but brainwave patterns.
Oh, EG, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like
There's a lot
neurosci,
of
there's a
patterns.
great.
There's tons of patterns. There's the brainwave pattern. There's the DNA. There's also tracking movement, like the amount
Mhm.
that a person moves. So someone who doesn't walk, like someone that only walks like, 250 steps a day, why would they be matched up with someone who walks 4,000 steps a day?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Lifestyle.
But what's really missing here is one single database or middleware that collects all this information. So let's say right now we start an open source project to be the human matchmaking platform of the future. We could bring in so many wonderful sources of data and factors, like
Mhm.
the ones we just mentioned. But right now, we'd have to access on the iPhone, we have to access the health API. Then to get the DNA, there's like some 23andMe or something you have to send your DNA to. And I don't even know if they have an API. And then there's the biorhythms or the brainwave patterns. That's through the NeuroSky, and it's another third-party app. Like there has to be
Yeah,
something to really pattern and mirror. There has to be a platform that pulls that in and
Mhm.
mirrors the human being biometrically, like with
Do you
every
think
every data
that
point.
do you think that holographic and robotic dating will be obsolete by then, or is that like
No, I don't
shadows
think
of the past?
so. No, I don't think so. I don't think it'd be obsolete by then. How would it be obsolete? What's after that? You mean going back to just
Do you
chemical
think that
body dating?
so sensory deprived that they'll choose to meet someone in person rather than like virtually through robots or
Yeah, but
haptic senses?
there'll be very short meetups. It'll be like hookups. It'll be like going
Would that be
spend.
who are on the other side of the world? Like, so just say like a scenario, someone is in Amsterdam, the other person is in Cape Town, and they really like each other, and then they meet holographically for a while as they're dating, and then they meet in person. Do you think that would be
Yeah, that makes
something
sense.
that
Yeah, I
so
think
that
that.
would overcome the location barrier?
Yeah, but it also gives that first. I think people are more. I think Tinder's an example of how more and more people are going to meet through the digital world first, and then they're going to meet.
Mm.
If you qualify to meet the person, then they'll meet you in the physical. So let's say you meet through this matchmaking app, and then next step is like, hey, you want to meet up in a virtual reality room, and then you go for like virtual coffee, and then eventually you're going to be like, wow, what would it be like to meet in person?
Yeah, and it'd be great for people. Holographic dating would be fantastic for couples that have to travel with work and stuff, because
Hmm.
you can still come home, you know.
But just look at what I just said there, like with simulations. People are going to use simulations more and more. So having that
Mm.
like virtual coffee is a form of simulation to prepare you for meeting in the flesh in real life.
Yeah, so it would look like Tinder. Then there's the option of holographic dating. You've been processed using DNA, behavioral, electrical, chemistry, or compatibility. and your matches come up for you there. That's what the new app of 24 or 2050 looks like, is it?
Well, but also through virtual reality. So instead of having an app, you swipe on your phone, like you're actually in virtual reality. I don't know if
Yeah.
you'd be swiping or just walking through a crowd, looking at different people.
Yeah, I get you. You could chat up someone walking by.
Right.
Mm. Oh, it's so exciting. I'd love that app right now. I'd love to be able to go download that app,
Hmm.
you know?
Right. So the thing is, in Europe, how they don't really have this in America, but in Europe, cities all have like a central square or plaza where people just walk around and
Mm.
they're social.
Yeah.
So like in Western Europe, people don't really meet like randomly in those public squares anymore. But here in Eastern Europe, in the smaller cities, people do. I mean, like you don't need Tinder. You just go out in the middle of the town, right?
Yeah. Well, that's
So
the
in
same.
20,
Western Europe, it's kind of the same. There might be a lot of alcohol involved, but it's the
yeah,
same
I
kind
guess,
of.
yeah, probably in the smaller places, but not in the big cities.
Mhm. No, like in cities like Dublin and London, like you can just walk up to someone and start talking.
Oh, okay.
It,
Yeah, see,
it's a,
that just doesn't really work in North America.
yeah, but it's always centered around alcohol, like drinking and
Hmm.
going out and partying. Like
Well,
that's
sure.
what partying is really like.
Right. So in virtual reality, and I played a lot of Second Life, probably like 10 years ago. Like I was really into it when it first came out. I just like walking around those virtual worlds.
Yeah, I played IMV.
Hmm. So with virtual reality, it's gonna retrieve the old like central town square, and like people are gonna walk around in virtual reality in this like public open area and mingle, and that's how you're gonna meet people. So it's a retrieval of what it used to be before everyone became alienated by going inside, watching television, and then going on their computers.
It would be really easy to have a dating site in 2018 or 19 or 20 where you white label this and then everyone sends in their ID and it gets analyzed and from the data it's processed further. And then on the front end they're just matching based on compatibility worldwide. Like that's doable in the next 2 years.
Oh yeah, and another one is something you brought up a while back about financial dating, where
Oh yeah, income.
everybody's financial everyone's financial data is exposed to the API. So you're matched based on financial compatibility.
But would you think there'll be sugar daddies and sugar mommies and sugar babies of in 2050? Do you think that
Sure, but
will
you can set
happen?
your preference when you use the app. If it's a man who has a lot of money, maybe he doesn't mind having a girl that doesn't have any money. So you set your preference, and maybe women who has a lot of money doesn't want some guy who has no job, no money, right? She doesn't want to be like his mother. So
Yeah.
that's an important preference setting.
Mhm. So your bank account is linked to this algorithm as well.
Yeah, because most relationships end due to financial, uh, what's the word for it? Irregularities.
But with schedules, like someone who works until 10 at night or
That's another
something.
one. Schedules, but also sleep
Mm.
patterns, because now our phones know when we go to sleep and when we wake up.
Yeah. Oh, it's so customized. It's incredible. I'd love it. That'd
Yeah,
be so
if
amazing.
we made an app, if we made like a platform right now, we
Mm.
wouldn't even have to make the app. Someone else could build the app part of it. But if we
Mm.
created a platform that brought in all these data points we were mentioning, I mean, it would be the best thing since sliced bread for dating.
How about, how about your EEG analyzes your first response to the photograph or the video or the hologram?
Oh yeah.
So like the EEG knows better than you. So like when you see someone at first, you'll have a feeling, but that EEG information can be analyzed and broken down into all the different parts of your brain to say why you felt that way.
Well, the thing is, the EEG actually registers before it hits your consciousness. So let's say a card is presented and it shows a picture of a guy, and you have
Mhm.
the EEG response first before it even like goes before the image even goes through your eyes and into your brain and into your consciousness. So the EEG can actually, you won't even see the person. It'll flash the card really fast. The EEG will just say, nope, don't even show her. Move to the
Yeah,
next one.
show and who not to show. Like,
Yeah. And this is all happening in milliseconds. No, I think there's a great opportunity here to build like this super platform that just brings in all these data points from someone's life. And in the beginning, some people will just volunteer to put all this information in. And then other people will be like, hell no, I'm not putting all that information in. But that's what they always say at the beginning.
yeah, that was like the internet, like Facebook. I'm not using Facebook. And
Hmm.
everybody, all the people, all the hardcore people that aren't going to use Facebook, they're all on Facebook now because it's actually like girls won't continue talking to a guy. I know girls that won't continue talking to a guy if they're not on Facebook because they think, right, you know,
Hmm.
like, and then they're like hardcore cybersecurity experts and they've read what they're signing their agreements to, and they know their information is sold, and they know that their photographs aren't their own photographs anymore the minute they click upload, you know.
Yeah.
But like, I know a lot of girls that's a turn off. Like,
But everybody always pushes against privacy in the beginning, and then after a while they give up and they say, "No, I want the convenience. I want to be part of this. I'll give up
like
my privacy."
I was going to do my DNA just out of curiosity, just like for ancestry, because I'm on ancestry.com as well, and um, I just wanted to combine the two, and that's another really good project. But we'll talk about that another time. Um, but then I was like, oh my god, it says your information is going to be sold on. I didn't say that, but it had one of the kind of clauses in. And I was like, fuck, like, in the future, like insurance companies are going to get their hands on all this information. They'll want that information. They'll be able to tell, what kind of insurance. So I decided not to get it done because I think that it's too scrupulous at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think once all those legal agreements are sorted out and there is some level of privacy, everyone will go for it. Like, there'll be different services. It seems to be the leading one at the moment.
You mean Ancestry? Or?
23andMe, the DNA.
Oh, right. Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. No,
I'm
but I guess,
stuck. I'm still stuck on this big platform that brings in all the data points because it can be used to do any kind of matchmaking between humans. So listen to this. Yes, it can hook you up with dating. It can also, hook you up with your ideal life partner, but it could also hook you up with ideal coworkers, like companies.
yeah.
Like when companies are hiring, they
Mm-hmm.
can take the person, instead of sending in a resume, they send in their profile from our platform, and then the company can compute and it'll say, well, this person is just not compatible with the rest of the people in the company.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Like
basically,
the
we
list
call
is
it, yeah,
endless.
we call this platform compatibility because that's what it is.
That's compatibility. Oh,
Compatibility
I spelled
because
it wrong.
typically we talk about compatibility between computers and like hardware and software from different vendors, but this is compatibility among humans. It can be used in everything. It can even be used when people are choosing seats for the airplane. You know,
Hmm.
like no, don't allow that person to sit in that seat because it's not compatible with the person next to them.
Their blood doesn't like each other.
Yeah, exactly.
Really? They don't know why they don't like them, but we have analysed and we know that because in the 3rd century there was a battle between two planets
Hmm.
and sitting against the arch enemy.
Exactly. We need to create the platform that has like the most like deep and broad set of data points for each person.
Mm,
And then just put it out there. Like, do you want to be part of this? It's voluntary. If you
mhm,
want to be part of this platform that allows you to do amazing stuff because our system has the most context for matching, then sign up. It's the same way
mhm.
23andMe did it, right? They're like, come on, send us your swab, and then you'll get the benefits of having your DNA, and we'll tell you what tribe you came from, what royals you're related to. And people are like, okay, sure.
I'm just looking up open source names here. Compatible dating. They're all very expensive.
Hmm.
Compatible dating, compatibility dating,
Don't limit it to
DNA.
dating. I mean, that's the cool thing about the dating
Yeah.
algorithms. So Tinder, this is why there's like all these different apps now that are like they're like Tinder with the swiping, because if you solve the dating issue, then you've solved like a whole bunch of other issues. There's an app now called Shaper, and it's like Tinder, but it's connecting you with other entrepreneurs and other people doing business networking. So their card comes up, and you swipe left or you swipe right if you
Mhm.
want to meet them. And it could be the same thing when you're hiring and you're looking at a stack of resumes or applications and you're looking for someone to hire. You can swipe left, swipe right. But with our system, because there's so much context, you don't even have to really swipe. Like it's going to get rid of most of the options for you because the matching is so good.
What about gene dating?
What dating?
Gene dating.
I don't know. I just like one word names for the platforms.
Gene.
I don't know, compatibility or compatible.
Mm-hmm. And yeah,
'Cause
we'll
that's
come
really
up with
what
a
it
name
is.
for it.
It's like, does this person fit with this other individual or group of people? And
Yeah. I
like
mean,
you were saying, like it can be used as like human traffic control, keep people away from people
yeah.
they're not compatible with.
Mm-hmm.
You could be walking down the street
Yeah.
and your device will start beeping at you, telling you like, don't go that way. There's uncompatible people.
Really?
Sure.
Like
Don't go to that restaurant
you
because it's full of people that you're not compatible with. Don't go to that
on a
club.
genetic. Is there such a thing as genetic uncompatibility?
We'll see.
Yeah, exactly. We'll see. I've never heard of that before. Like genes that don't like DNA that
Right,
dislikes
but
other DNA.
but you understand what I'm saying. I'm saying it's not just the genetic data. It's all the other
Yeah.
factors that we're gathering, including biorhythms,
Hmm.
EEG,
Yeah.
movement patterns, like how much walking do they do?
Hmm. Schedules.
Yeah, sleep patterns, eating
Their
patterns.
choice of clothing,
Yeah,
brand
like
clothes,
vegans.
branding.
Vegans don't want to be with carnivores.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So that's the thing. Now that we have all this data,
Hmm.
people, it's going to create segregation because we now have the ability for people not only to, so there's the matchmaking side of like the algorithms can bring people together, bring the right people together, but it can also keep the wrong people apart.
Mm.
So you're going to have, makes it easier now for people to have clubs and communities and regions that only have like a certain type of person. So the vegans can like have their
Well,
own country.
there's a lot of data available for astrology. You know, like your birth chart, like, and
That's another
obviously,
one. That's another factor.
yeah, that could be done now. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you
Yeah,
just
but
need
what
for time.
happens? I know, but what happens when you create a vector of all these different factors together? We
But wouldn't it be interesting to compile a study to validate astrology? So many people are interested in astrology, but no one knows if it's real. But
Mhm.
imagine we compiled a versus project, astrology versus DNA, to see is there actually something in it.
That's what we'd be able to do, though, because we'd have all the factors being measured, and then because so many people are meeting through our platform, we'll be able to say, like, Geminis are better off with Geminis.
Mhm.
That was the leading factor. It even superseded the influence of the DNA. It even superseded the influence of like similar diets.
Mhm.
But that's what we have to do. We have to have all the factors, like a lot of different factors, so that we can test against them.
Gene.institute is available.
Hmm.
People go
Yeah,
out.
but this is, like I said, this is more. This is like a mosaic of all the different factors, not just genes.
Well, let's call it mosaic then.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
good. Because then it's like the person is a mosaic of all the different factors, biometric factors and
Mm.
societal factors that we're quantifying.
So you could have
And
like
yeah,
mosaic dot dating, mosaic dot employment, and
mhm,
mosaic dot, you know.
right.
Okay, I like it, mosaic. So our open source project is going to be called Mosaic.
Yeah. And again, it solves the dating of the future issue. So
Mm.
imagine the amount of data that we'll have by 2050. So we're positioning ourselves as the leading central data source for dating.
I think the algorithm will be the authority because you'll trust the algorithm more than your own senses. Like,
Right. But we have a lot of time to tweak the algorithm from now until 2050.
mhm.
And it's, like I said, it's extensible beyond dating
Yeah,
to human resources, um, human traffic control, just keeping people away from people they're really not compatible with in social
yeah, we still have to
settings.
verify that though. We don't. That's not validated. Like, we don't know. Do people? The reason people just randomly dislike other people is based on DNA. Like, we don't know that. I've never read a study on that. Definitely interesting to
Well, I know,
do a
but we'll
study on it.
see because if we'll be the ones who can see it because we're the ones that have the data.
There has to be a reason why people just have an instant dislike to somebody.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
There you go. Why is it that some people you just look at them and you're like, nope, I'm never going to get along with that person. They're just not my
yeah.
kind of people. Exactly.
Mm. So, like, there's an Irish expression that makes your blood boil.
Yeah.
Boil?
Boil.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyhow, I love mosaic. I think it's cool because mosaic is like, it's like all these random kind of bits of pictures that make one grand picture.
The
I
composite
think we
that is the human.
I think beehive, the beehive kind of structure, and inside each hexagon is like another. So we'd have astrology, DNA. Inside each hexagon, there's like,
Yeah, it's excellent.
mm, would look cool, and then like you could have that would look nice. I think.
Yeah, it would.
Okay, so there's loads more. I mean, there's AI, like, but we're kind of talking AI really, like algorithms and you know the artificial intelligence that puts the matches together,
Hmm.
building that, writing it from scratch.
Right. So it's like it's matching people together, but we haven't talked about what happens when they are together. What are people doing in 2050 for dating? Like, are they going on like a quick half-hour date? Are they going like out for dinner and a movie? Like, what do people do for dating in the future?
Um, but like because they're being matched, they'll have similar interests. Like there'll be no like, oh, debating on what they want to do because they'll already know like, oh, I like this and so do I because I've been matched on this. So they'll be off to the pub or they'll be going to the cinema or they'll be hiking a mountain.
I guess they won't have to even think about what to do because the algorithms will tell them what to do. Be like, This is the
It'd
best
be
thing
like
for
me.
you guys to do to have a good date.
Mhm. When the algorithm could suggest dates
Hmm.
based on, you know,
Exactly. It'll give like playlists. It'll be like, okay, you're gonna get picked up at this time, and you're gonna go to this restaurant, and then after the restaurant, you're gonna go to this show, et cetera, et
the
cetera.
API could actually technically link with like the Groupon of 2040, and it could give them deals on different activities.
Think Groupon will be around in 2050?
No, but well, I'm not too sure Jack Ma is there, but like, um, it'd be interesting
Oh,
to see.
sorry, you
Like,
said
there will be,
the Groupon of 2050, like whatever replaces
yeah.
it.
Hmm. But like, so like date, and then it suggests dates for you, and then it has like offers, like unique collaborations or membership prices.
Hmm.
So it could be like a helicopter ride, or it could be horseback riding, or it could be like Mozambique.
Yeah, let's just whiz over
Yeah.
to Mozambique for a few hours.
Everything is going to be cheaper in the future because data makes things and more accessible, and knowing the numbers makes things cheaper because there's never an empty seat.
Hmm. Right.
And then like we'll have the fuel of the future, and there'll be less everything gets cheaper in the future.
Hmm.
Would you agree with that?
Yes, because the physical world becomes, um, what's the word for it? Devalued. Like we're devaluing things in the physical world. For example, like flying. I remember, like if you look at it now, I don't think like travel is nearly as expensive as it used to be relative to how much money people are making.
That's what I mean. New technology comes in, like DNA is so expensive, like 10 years ago. Now it's like 1,000. I'm sorry, 3 years ago it was like 1,000. Now it's like 300.
Right.
So like in a year's time, it's going to be like $50 or whatever.
Hmm.
And then in the future, it'll be free
Yeah,
as the
the
insurance
first
company
computer that
wants.
I had, right, the first computer I ever had was like $5,000, and now you can get the best laptop for
Yeah.
like half of that.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah. I mean, my things are getting cheaper. So like, I imagine in 2050, the first date would be off to Mozambique.
Or it'll be like the Fifth Element. It'll be off to Floss in Paradise.
They'll have some fantasy and they'll want to enact that, like they might be off to Harry Potter's castle or something
Right.
for
See,
cosmic.
yeah, think beyond just the physical world of what's on the globe. Think
Like
of
I don't think
virtual
like
worlds.
I, I think like meeting for coffee will be replaced by holographic meeting, and then they'll have their schedules uploaded so they know they have a certain amount of time off, and they'll be like, okay, and we'll have more time off by 2040 and 2050. So it'll be like, okay, I have off, and so do you, and then it recommends that we go to Mozambique. Because through it, some history book that we read when we were younger or something like that, some compatibility, and then like dating would be way more, and people would say that's ridiculous. Like you'd never go on dates like that, but in the future you probably would because the whole world is more accessible
Hmm.
and it's inexpensive. And by then we'll have magnetic propulsion airplanes that cost next to nothing to run outside building a plane.
Right.
So we won't
Yeah.
have big
The other thing is,
surcharge.
in the future, everything's going to be owned by a select group of companies.
Hmm.
So there'll be like the owner class, and then there'll be the access class. People that don't own things and they just rent them. Like this generation, they're not really buying cars. In fact, they don't even, a lot of people aren't even getting their license anymore because
Yeah,
of stuff like Uber, like on
yeah.
demand rides in public transit
Mm.
has improved. And the apps that support public transit make it much more convenient.
Yeah, but
So
by 2040, 2050, we'll have driverless cars, so you're not paying for the driver anymore. You're not paying for the fuel because we'll have
yeah,
fuel cars. So like straight away, everything's getting cheaper. Like.
right. But also access
Mm.
means, okay, I can have access to anything I want for as short amount of time as I want. So I can have all this variety. I can ride in a different kind of car every day, and I can stay in a different house every single day with
Yeah.
Airbnb. And so why would I want to have one like partner that I date? Why would I want to go steady with someone when I can have a different person every single night?
But like on the app, it will say monogamy, polyamory. Say that word, polyamorous,
Polyamory.
polyamory. It will say what other types of
Oh,
unions
there's
are there.
there's a long list of different types of unions.
Setting on the app, like you'll either be. There's no difference. Like you are what you are. Like your attractions are your attractions. So be like between 24 to 36, you might be poly, and then you might go back to monogamy at like 40 or something.
Right.
So it's not like set in. The same thing with sexual orientation. Like you might be one thing one year, and the next year you might change. Like
Hmm. Yeah, and the reason why that's happened is because that's the software world, which is totally constantly interchangeable, has infinite
mm,
variety and infinite scalability, infinite redundancy. And now the real world is cloning itself after that. It always conforms to whatever the technological environment is. So,
mm,
buildings now they look like renderings out of 3D software, and
yeah,
relationships and access to things is starting to it's accelerated because of the accelerated permutations of what goes on inside the digital technology.
mm. Oh, it's really exciting. Like I'd love it in 2018. I'd love like to build this project, and it's to be very crude in the beginning because data you'd have to build APIs and try to gather as much data as possible and analyze it and machine learn it and
Hmm.
make the most sophisticated AI out there. Like but it'd definitely be interesting
Yeah,
project to do.
definitely.
Like
It's a monumental task to bring together all those different data points. But
a very easy open source project to crowdfund as well
mhm.
because it's solving a problem. Like Tinder and Bumble and Plenty of Fish and Tagged and all these dating apps, like they're so wild. Like they're so
They're so one dimensional, and that's what most of the apps are nowadays. They're just so one dimensional.
mhm. And they don't even work very well. There's like so many bugs, like the swiping. My God, swiping is so passe at this point. It's like it's gone past its expiration
Oh,
date. It doesn't work.
there's so many swiping apps now. There's like
It's,
swiping through
you know,
clothes. Yeah.
like it's exhausting. Like you'll have arthritis in your thumb by the time you're 40. Like
Hmm.
it's it's not a natural movement of your thumb. First of all, you're sitting there for 2 hours doing swiping, like whether you're shopping or you're on dating apps, like your thumb is going to get sore.
So
Yeah.
but when everyone's in virtual reality interfaces, what kind of repetitive strain disorder do you think they're going to get
Mhm.
then?
Eventually, you won't even. Eventually, your eyes will be closed, and
Exactly.
you'll be like Sony have this um, virtual reality headset that shines on the back of your eyes. I think it's the back of your eyes. It shines on your eyes, and like there's with light, there's tropisms and all this kind of thing. And like Sony hasn't done tests to see the effect of light on your eyes for that length of time.
Right.
It could be blind or messing with
Exactly.
their sight. Like
Yeah. Yeah,
It's not.
people are guinea pigs right now for virtual reality technology.
Um, yeah, so like eventually, like I think it'll just be your brain. Like your brain will generate the image like a dreaming state, like, except you're awake.
Yeah, it could be, or it could be some kind of a hack on the optical nerve.
Yeah, I'm not too sure how. Like I don't think the technology exists in 2017, but by 2050, I think like your eyes are precious. Like you won't be messing with your eyes with light. You know.
Right. Yeah, and
Uh,
someone will find, like I said, someone will find a way to hack into the optic nerve
yeah,
and just present the images right there.
like there won't be a USB cord sticking into your skin.
No, that's ridiculous.
It's
You're
not going to
seeing
look like
people who
that.
are getting they're like
It'll be
getting
done through light trans.
Wi-Fi embedded under their skin.
It's all electrical synapses, electrical connectivity. So like eventually it'll be a light port. It'll be like its own little, you know, your something like that will scan your brain, and then it'll be able to pick up the EEG from there. And then once you're in on the brainwave patterns, it'll be able to generate an image. And then it'll go through the stages of it being pixelated or black and white, and then it'll go to color, then it'll go to 4K, you know,
Yeah.
advances like. So I think the use of eyes, I think the eyes will be closed for virtual reality in the future.
Hmm.
Like you're lying down, like you're, you know,
Right.
the concept of astral projection,
Yeah.
where your light body is outside of your physical body. You're running around in an astral dimension, and there's different dimensions then. So it's similar concept to that, you know, it's a brain interface
Right.
using light.
Yeah, it'll look, I agree with you that in the future technologies are going to take on a more astral kind of character.
I think all of the psychic phenomenon will be digitized. And I think that will be a huge part. You know, like DMT and all these trips that people have, like you'll be able to do digital DMT, and it's so addictive. It'll
Mm.
become normal, like you'll have hyperspace, and hyperspace will be a place that you go for fun. So like
Right, but
people will be in nature
you're saying like all these astral experiences will be digitized, but I'm also
digitized.
saying, yeah, but I'm saying that the digital experiences will also become more astralized. So right now, like if I want to send a message, I have to pick up this smartphone and press the screen and tap, tap, tap.
Your body will be obsolete by then as well. Just like your eyes, like you won't physically, you'll think bad, and then you'll think hi chat,
Yeah.
and then send a message, and then it goes and it's sent to you, and then that comes onto the edge of your aura or your peripheral, and then you can accept or deny just by looking at it. Everything with your mouse will be your eyes and where you place your attention.
Yes.
So it's an astral sight. If you close your eyes right now, Chad, and look to your right, and imagine there's like a bubble that's a message, and then you can ignore that, but the minute you put your attention on it, that's like clicking it, and then it'll come up mainframe.
Yes.
That's how I'd envision it, anyhow.
Yeah. So
Something
if you
like
were watching, if you were like spying on someone right now and they're in the
that.
year 2050 and they're in their home and they're
Right.
interacting with the dating app and the the other apps of their daily life, the grocery app and all that kind of stuff,
Mm.
travel planning app. If you watch them while they're operating these things, it would look like they're meditating, right?
Faces lying.
Okay. Or meditating, or
The
just, it would look
fully
like they were involved in some kind of astral kind of activity as opposed to like now where everything's like a hardware activity, like you're touching hardware.
no, like because like you'll be online. Online will be walking around on the planet. Offline will be virtual reality. I don't like virtual, holographic reality or astral reality, whatever you want to call it.
Hmm.
You know, and then obviously there'll be augmented reality, like, you know, you'll be walking around and you'll have an overlay. Like they have that at the moment. That's the concept of it. They haven't actually, like, Google Glass is the closest thing to it. Like, I mean, who's going to wear glasses walking around like that, you know?
Right. But at a certain point, it'll be hard to distinguish anymore between what's virtual and what's not
But the
virtual.
augmented is digitized in the physical world. And
Right.
then when you're in stasis, then like your physical body's offline and you're in astral dimensions. But they're digitized astral dimensions.
Yeah. But don't you see a moment in the future? So they talk about the technological singularity when technology becomes smarter than humanity to the point where humanity just can't even comprehend it anymore. But what
Where
about holograms or virtual reality become, I guess, more real than reality? It's going to flip humanity into like the other side, basically.
yeah, like that's haptic. So haptic is like the ability to feel how our partners feel. So like if you go into the hologram, like even in Japan in 2017, they have a thing called 7D. You should Google it. So we're on like 3D at the moment. Like you can get your projector 3D, your TV 3D. Japan is on 7D because Japan is, to me, are the leading edge in technology as cities go. And you can go in and they have like penguins. That's just the theme of the hologram. And you can go in and you can smell the penguin. You can go up and you can touch the penguin. It's made of light.
Is it like 7D Zoo? Is that what I'm looking at?
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, yeah.
Hologram Animal Park?
That's the one, yeah.
Interesting.
So like if there's 70s, it's going to be 13D. You know, like I do believe like the astral dimension is another D, you know.
Right.
Closing your eyes and going into accessing hyperspace, where hyperspace is. Then there's going to be a union of where physical reality is scanned and then that's put into hyperspace. So you'll have a virtual art and you'll have a physical art. You'll have the original art and you'll have a virtual art. So I might say to you, Chad, let's go to Mozambique. And you're like, which one? Virtual or real?
Right.
It's like, well, we can go check it out and see, do we like it? And then we can book our tickets, or it'll book our tickets for us based on our EEG, whether we liked it enough. It's so exciting, like 2050. Wow, you know? Like there's a lot of work to get there and there's going to be a lot of meta processing on behalf of the planet, but like it's just going to be amazing. Like, and information is key. You know, and I really think like people are willing to give up that data. We can make such cool tools. Like talk about evolution.
Exactly. That's why we will kickstart the development of an open source platform that gathers a very broad range of characteristics about individuals, and
I
it's
do
fully
have
voluntary.
I have an idea, John, and it's inspired by DuckDuckGo. It's a search engine. It's not a very big search engine. It's not a very comprehensive search engine, but it's a search engine that's privatized. And like, you know, my data is worth money. I know my data is worth money, right? So why am I making money from my data? Why am I giving up my data on Google to corporations that are making money on me? You know?
Hmm.
Why am I
It's a
like,
new
you know,
form of communism. People give up their data so that they get access to these free services like Facebook and Google.
so I do believe that like they're willing to pay, have this privatized avatar. See, I've no problem signing an agreement because all these, every time I click agree, I'm supposed to be reading pages and pages and pages of documentation, but nobody does that.
No.
So, you know, it's just like not many people know this, but if you upload your video or photo to Facebook, you no longer own that image. They own that image.
Right.
Now, I didn't read that in terms and agreements because I didn't read Facebook, but I know that they're like not a very good company, like, especially if they're doing things like that. DuckDuckGo movement. So there's a trajectory there where everything is privatized and your information is never sold. So I believe like in the year 2017, we're in this like free society where everything is free, but you're selling your soul to your contract. But then there's like this offshoot of like DuckDuckGo generation and paying for services, which no one minds paying for services once they know that their data is privatized.
Yeah, I don't know if I agree. I think people people are happy to give up their data in exchange for getting these services. And as a result, it's moving us to a more cashless society.
See, the biggest motivator of people is fear. So, like, in your opinion, what are people afraid of?
Well, they're not really
Giving
afraid
up.
of they're not really afraid of giving up their privacy. Like there's
Mm.
people don't even pay too much attention anymore when the news stories come out and say like a database was hacked and 35 million people's records were exposed. It just doesn't have the same effect on people anymore. They don't really care.
Yeah. But I do think, like, on a trend level, presenting some type of, fear about Google, like,
Sorry, I don't understand the question.
right, okay, so you have, like, Google is the market, and then you have, like, little search engines like DuckDuckGo that are, like, 5% of the market. So why is DuckDuckGo there? Like, it's either going to see, it's a seed. It's either going to grow, like Google's already a plant, you know?
Right.
It's two different species of plant growing, earliest seed stage, and it's going to grow like. So is there going to be two types of user into the mainframe of internet? The private one and then the public one. Free versus private.
Yes, people pay for privacy. For example, the government. The government pays for privacy with their records. They don't use the public free services for things. Also, corporations, they pay. So yeah, the public class of people, the general public, they will not have to pay for these things.
You
But
see, like, I'd prefer to be a private user than a public user.
yes, but privacy will become very, very expensive because all of these big platforms are going to be powered by data that
Mm.
is given up by the users.
But as I
So
was saying earlier, why am I getting paid for my data?
you are getting paid by getting access to the platform.
Like, just for example, insurance companies, like, say I go for, I know I'm going on, but I'm just saying, like, this is one example of how data can cost me money and affect my life. So I'm like inputting all this information and I go and get my DNA tested. And then I get a bill of like 5,000, a health insurance bill of 5,000 a year. And it says predisposition to cancer at 92 or something like that. Like, then free services is starting to cost me money. Like, I'm talking about like in
Right.
2025.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah. So then, like, the private internet is more valuable to me on the long term, paying like $2 here, $5 there, than getting huge ads or anything like that.
Mm.
That's the only one I can
Right.
think of, but I'm sure there's, you
But
know,
the thing is,
it's
most
like
people just
driving.
want.
Say my driving isn't great, and that's insurance as well. And um, I never go 30 in the 30 zone, and I'm always too fast to go at the green sign. At green sign, I always go through the orange light or whatever. And then my car is telling on me. And then my insurance company sends me a bill of like 10,000 a year because of my bad habits in driving. Now that data is costing money. There's loads of ways that, like, I think that data is going to turn society into a robotic society.
Right.
Because
But
it tells you, like,
yeah, but privacy is going to become very expensive because you'll have to fund the development of those things yourself.
but would Reboot Civilization not be, as we reboot civilization, Chad, would we not be looking at a privatized Google
Um,
where we don't share information, where
well,
we gather information?
everyone's everyone's going to have their own Google. They're going to have their own, well, not Google, but Googler, something that goes out and spiders the whole web of
But why don't we and the members of Reboot build this?
a private independent, like a private individual Google spider,
Google
right?
that
Yeah,
our information.
maybe that's what we can discuss in our next episode then.
Yeah,
This
I
is
think that's a good topic
yeah.
because, like, I'd love all of this data utilized and like implemented into my life and to see what would happen. But like, I do know that there's like really scrupulous corporations out there, and they will use that data against you, and free services will become very expensive. I see this by 2025.
Hmm.
Like, oh my god, I can't believe I entered my right date of birth on that form because now my data is showing this.
Right.
That I went to McDonald's three times a month this month, and now my health insurance know that my
Yeah.
my like it data is dangerous. Like that's what we should make another episode about.
Yeah.
It's like my insurance
I
company
know,
knows
but you're gonna
I
have to
1,000
look at
steps
the
today. My doctor recommended 3,500 steps today.
right, but
That's been
look at the historical precedent for it. It's like data
mm,
is the new electricity. So when electricity first came out, people were scared and they talked about how dangerous it was, but they're not talking about that anymore.
yeah, fear. And I don't have fear, but like the only thing is like free is not free. Like free is definitely not free because like all like okay, it's fine now at the moment, but I'm talking like 2025, 2030, all the way up to like 2050. Like this information, like say you have a condition of something, whatever condition it is, and you choose to be private with that condition. It could be like arthritis in your hand from swiping on Tinder or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
And you're there, and that's a private condition you have, and you go to your job interview knowing that you need your hand, but you might keep that private because you don't want to be like discriminated against because you have limited use of your hand or something like that. But then that's already on your file, and then you don't get the opportunity because you have repetitive strain or something like that.
Hmm.
That's like data can come. I know these are ridiculous examples, but like you know what I mean.
No, they're valid points. But what I'm saying is privacy is just very expensive to maintain. And it's only going to
Yeah,
get more expensive because all the apps and platforms that come out, the new ones, all leverage the economics of if you give me your data, I will give you powerful features and network effects.
well, I'd like to see Mosaic as privatized, open source and privatized.
Okay, but the problem is if you privatize it, you are limiting the network effects.
No, that I'm like that Mosaic is not going to sell your information to insurance companies or to, police or like all these different
Okay, but I don't think that's a
authorities.
reason to be afraid of data. I think there's like a
All right,
moral moral
say
issues.
astrology verified, and you have a astrology chart, and it's not the greatest astrology chart, and then astrology becomes. I'm only using a really out there random paradigm, but just for example, astrology becomes verified, and everyone uses astrology, and then you're like minority reported on the quantum mechanics of the universe, right?
Yeah.
And then like you have a predisposition based on Vedic astrology to this, and this comes up on your chart. If astrology is real,
Yeah,
but no one.
I don't think that would happen, but I don't know, that's just an
Yeah, but
example.
I'm using that as an example is to segue into this. Your EEG reading has been highlighted by the police because it's showing that's common in criminal patterning or whatever. And Mosaic has an open source policy, and anyone can access information from Mosaic. I wouldn't create an app like that if it was going to start getting people in trouble based on limited knowledge and de-evolution, and do you know what I mean? Like, then okay, so the people from 2100 or 2100 will be looking back at 2050 saying, "Oh my God, that was so primitive. They prosecuted people for their EEG."
Exactly. But
Do you
again,
know what I mean? Like,
it's going to be the rich are the ones that can afford privacy, and the poor are those who can't.
yeah, but like, why don't we solve that problem now and try to get that? Because I really think that's just like,
I know, but this is more than a problem. It's actually a paradox
mm,
because you can't. The software is not, or how? Let me backtrack on that. Software is only as useful as the amount of people that are using it, right? So if you're limiting it
mm,
because people have to pay, but their data is going to be private, then not as many people are going to use it. Imagine Google; it wouldn't be as useful if there was only 100,000 people using it. But because other people have also searched and sifted through results, it becomes way more useful, way more powerful. So the paradox is you're saying there should be like people should pay to have their privacy so that the platform doesn't have to sell their data to make money. And then it's like a chicken and egg thing. It can't grow large enough to hit the network effects that make it very
the reason I'm
useful.
bringing this up is I'd like Reboot Civilization to be we believe in privacy. We believe in like Google isn't they're anti-privacy, whereas we believe in privacy. Projects to be private.
I just think that privacy, if you like make privacy a core principle, you're trying to swim upstream. You're trying to go
Mm-hmm.
against the
We're with
current of technology. Yeah.
DuckDuckGo is a search engine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like there's so many hurdles, like, there's a long time between now and 2050, like, and then yet it's so short as well. Like we'll see 2050.
Yeah. But
So it's really interesting.
you have to choose your battles, and I don't think that privacy is recoverable. But the more we go into the future, it'll be a thing of the past.
I think there's going to be a privatization intervention where everyone is like, holy shit, I've given away so much data already, even though none of it matters. And then, like, right now, they can sell it as much as they want, but there's nothing they're going to pull from it. But the minute you start uploading EEGs, the minute you start uploading schedules, and all this personal information that we're looking for with Mosaic. I can tell who I'm compatible with. I can tell where the genius is. Like, I can tell so much from this data. Like, that's personal, that's private. It's not like free contract and you sign away your rights to that information, like,
Right. Yeah, I think maybe that's a topic for a future show because it's very in depth. The whole issue of privacy. It's
Yeah.
privacy versus the forces of networked technology, which are extremely powerful, and they don't belong to one company or anything like that. These are natural forces that we've unleashed when we open the Pandora's box of network technologies.
Yeah. And like, if Reboot Civilization implements this open source project, we could go back and have another topic on 2250, dating in 2250, and we'll actually be like from 2070 standpoint, because we've
Mm-hmm.
implemented that technology. Technology is it's a future timestamp. Like, as that technology is implemented, then new technology will come in 2050, 2070 to 100,
Yeah. Yeah.
It's within reach. That's what I like about the year 2050.
Yeah, exactly. It's just far enough that it's a very different perspective compared to the world we live in now, but it's not so far in the future that we're totally blind to what
Like,
it
I'd love to
holds.
wake up in the morning and my beautiful interface tells me, matches today. Who would you like to speak to?
Yeah.
And then, like, tomorrow I'll have another 6 matches. It'll be fun. So
Yeah,
much
and if
fun.
they're actually better matched than the kind of stuff that Tinder has to offer now, where it's almost just random. It's almost
Measurement,
just random.
ABC.
Like, yeah.
How easy it is to be a fucking multi-millionaire company or a $1 billion company.
Hmm.
Like, look at the age thing
The
out there.
standard, I know the standard's very low.
Yeah. You need to join Reboot Civilization and come on board, because we're making the magic happen
That's right.
there.
Yeah.
Okay, well, if anyone wants to add any comments, or feel free to email us at rebootciv@gmail.com. And Chad, have you anything else before we sign off?
No, just very excited about this platform that has all this many layered data points about individuals.
In the hex.
It's
In
a
the
very
hex.
enabling technology.
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be cool. Right, Mosaic. That's the story there.
All right.
Talk to you next time, Chad.
Thanks for having another call with me, and
Yeah.
I guess we'll talk soon.
Yeah. Okay, goodbye.
All right. Bye.